Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is where you are. I want to give you guys a bit of a tier list on things or habits that are keeping you from getting jacked and stacked. So we'll get right into it. The first one, I have this nice little picture of more plates, less dates here. Derek, the dirty bulked picture. And the habit is dirty bulking. It used to be kind of like the thing years ago where everyone would just dirty bulk and just be piling on as much food as possible because mass moves mass and you got to gain weight, right? You got to eat big to get big. The truth of the matter is that muscle protein synthesis and hypertrophy just doesn't require that many calories. In fact, it's not even really a calorie dependent mechanism. I mean, just to put into perspective, right? How many pounds of muscle do you think someone, let's say a noob, a complete newbie, starting in the gym, they're consistent, but they have an idea of what they're doing, they're staying consistent, and they're growing, right? How many pounds of muscle do you think they'll put on a month? Let's just say 1 pound, right? Maybe more, maybe less. Let's just say 1 pound for ease of math. Now I want you to think of a pound of chicken, right? Like a pound of the leanest chicken breast you can find, right? How many calories is a pound of chicken? Let's look it up. How many calories is a pound of the chicken breast? Sorry if my typing's loud. Let's see here. About 700 calories. All right, not bad. So now that's 700 calories. Some of these people doing dirty bulks are doing upwards of 1,000 calorie surplus a day, only to put on effectively 700 calories worth of actual muscle, right? Mind you, I took the 700 calories from chicken breast just without, like, it would be even less than that, right? Because it's just protein. It's not really fat. There shouldn't be fat in there, right? Why do you think you need to eat 1,000 calories plus a day for 30 days to gain effectively 700 calories for the tissue? Like, obviously it's not a perfect mechanism. It's not going to be 1-to-1, right? You might have to eat a little bit more. Who knows, right? There's obviously other mechanisms that go forth, but you really don't need to eat that much more. In fact, I mean, people in studies have shown that you can gain muscle and partition some of your body weight towards muscle without any surplus. So if you were going to do a surplus, it doesn't have to be big at all. A lot of people say right now bulking's vaulted. I don't necessarily think it's vaulted. I think dirty bulking has always been vaulted, right? I kind of thought the whole bulking's been vaulted. It's like, no. Like, they say bulking's vaulted, but then they explain like, oh, only do 100 calorie surplus. Like, yeah, that's what a bulk is. You're just trying to re-vault dirty bulking, which has been vaulted long time ago. So yeah, we're gonna go. Geez, I'm gonna put it hustling in reverse. I don't necessarily think it's like you're gonna be a pencil neck. If you do it, you'll probably end up being strong. I mean, remember, mass moves mass. In a way, it's not totally, but you're probably gonna get big. You'll probably get strong, but long term, you're gonna have to spend so much time cutting, which is going to probably negatively affect your workouts, right? We kind of want to stay in that like maintenance calorie range. We want to give ourselves enough energy to have good workouts and feel good and make progress and give ourselves enough energy substrates to build muscle. And dirty bulking, going to the extreme, is going to make you have to go to the other extreme to get back to a good healthy body weight. So I don't necessarily think it's pencil necked here. I'm gonna put it hustling in reverse. And if I didn't already explain it, right, the highest, the worse it is, right? So pencil necked here is like, hey, this is gonna fuck you up. Like, these habits are going to mess up your hypertrophy goals. Hustling in reverse, it's probably just creating a ton more work, holding you back, and overblown. It's like, it's probably not good for you. It's probably not gonna help your hypertrophy goals, but whatever. And then neutral, even beneficial. That's pretty self-explanatory. Next, we have alcohol consumption. Alcohol has been shown to negatively affect muscle protein synthesis. It is not good for you, right? Just straight up, it is effectively poison. Of course, you're your own adult, right? Hopefully you're an adult. I mean, some of you might be younger than that. That's great too. But if you're gonna be drinking alcohol, don't try and be like, oh well, there's calories in it, and the calories are good from it. No. It's not good. Personally, I have a big apprehension towards putting alcohol anywhere but the worst possible tier because I'm just so against it from a health standpoint. So I'm going to put it in pencil neck tier. I think the people that I know who drink the most are the most penciled. I'm not saying that there aren't jack guys drinking, but the only jack guys who drink a lot that I know of off the top of my head are on copious amounts of research chemicals. So it doesn't count because they didn't earn their muscle. Next, we have ego lifting, and then we have the classic ego lifter pictured here, if you can see it. I don't necessarily like hate ego lifting, right? I think being passionate and being excited to lift heavy weights is great, and it's definitely going to help you. I kind of don't like the opposite side of the spectrum where you kind of just don't even care about how much you're lifting. You just want to get strong, right? You just kind of don't care. You go into the gym just only focused on the end goal. I think there's some good things to ego lifting, but I think to the extreme, you're probably just going to injure yourself, which is going to take you out of the game and going to make you less consistent, which consistency is, I mean, when I do the video on habits helping you to get jacked, consistency is number one, right? It's spoiler alert. And so getting injured and doing anything that's going to increase the risk of you getting injured, it's bad. I'm going to have to put it in holding you back, probably just because that's really what it is. Like, I think getting injured is going to hold you back, but having passion about lifting weights is going to help you. I think just if we're talking about the extreme ego lifting, yeah, it's definitely a bad thing. But if we're just talking about like being passionate, like maybe doing a 1 rep max with the bros every once in a while, it'd be neutral, even beneficial. Next, we have kind of a minor one. It's being on your phone at the gym. A lot of the old coots, a lot of the guys at the gym are always like, oh, these youngins are always on their phones instead of lifting. I need to use that chest press and go like this for 30 sets. It's fine. Like, if you want to take out your phone, like I take out my phone to log my weights, so that's how I do it. I don't do it old school in the notebook anymore. Being on your phone quickly is fine. I think just one thing you do want to avoid is kind of taking yourself out of focus, right? Like when it gets to the point where you're starting to doom scroll or you're on Reddit or something, just reading, you're kind of taking yourself out of focus. If you're good at getting back into focus, it can be fine. I'm going to put it at neutral or even beneficial, because if you're logging your workouts through your phone, then yeah, logging your workouts is good. If you're not and you're just kind of doom scrolling, as long as you're doing it like effectively within a rest time, you're not just like completely losing yourself, probably fine. And honestly, more rest is usually good if you're hypertrophy minded. Next, I have good old V-Shred. And for this one, I'm putting all fitness fads, right? Following fitness fads and fitness scams, like, trying to follow your somatotype, right? Trying to see what your body type is and lifting based on that. I'm a big advocate that women need to stop focusing so much on trying to work out perfectly in line with their cycle. I think that's kind of a scam. I think when you actually go down that rabbit hole, the adaptations and the stimuluses are the same. Like, you really should just get a consistent plan going and stop trying to optimize everything. The other thing is that some of them are complete scams. Like some training based on whether you're ectomorph, endomorph, though those were made to see if there were personality differences between the groups. They have nothing really to do with biology and especially hypertrophy. So I'm going to put following fitness scams all the way in pencil neck here. I think you're doing too much. Next, we have being afraid of gaining weight. I don't necessarily think being afraid of gaining weight. I mean, of course, I think fear is always going to be bad, and stress is always going to be bad, especially for hypertrophy and just long-term health and just living a good life. But if you are just opposed, let's just say opposed to gaining weight, I don't think that's necessarily bad. And, especially if you've kind of found the body weight range that you like to be in, you feel good, you feel like your workouts are good, and you don't want to go above that, that's fine. That's even beneficial, right? You kind of figured it out for yourself. If we're going to go to the extreme of genuinely you are just terrified, and that's where I'm putting this one, right? This where I'm ranking this is based on being like so afraid that you don't want to gain weight. That's pretty bad, right? Like, you might find that body weight that you're gonna go to is going to be actually healthier and you're gonna feel better. Especially if you're adding that good muscle weight, you're probably gonna feel better. Like, and if you always stay at 120 pounds, right? Like, if you're 120 pounds right now, like as a male, let's say you're, I don't know, 5'8", you're never gonna really be jacked. You might look lean, you might look kind of ripped, you might still look good, but if you want to get jacked, right? You want to get big, you want to look like you lift even in clothes, being stuck at a really low body weight is going to completely prevent you from doing that. So I'm gonna put holding you back here, because I think that's exactly what it's doing. Next, this one I'm kind of just defining as meathead lifting. We have science-based lifting later on, if you can't tell. Meathead lifting, I'm really just describing as just going into the gym and just horsing weight around with no real plan. You're just lifting. You don't write anything down. You just walk in and you just lift whatever weight feels good at the time. I think it's overall pretty bad. I mean, you can generally see some pretty jacked guys who will just walk in with no plan and just lift a ton of weight, and a lot of them are natural. But what I've noticed from the guys that like go to my gym right now and just do that, they have no plan, they just do whatever they want at whatever time of day. The thing is that they're all usually really consistent because they really enjoy working out, because they just kind of go in there and have fun. So as a result, they're kind of jacked, but they've also been doing it for like 10 to 20 years. So it's like there's a lot of good things about the sort of meathead style of lifting, of just being excited to get in the gym and just lift some weight and just do whatever you want. But at the same time, they definitely could be more jacked and a lot stronger. So it's kind of like, if you're happy with that lifestyle, like if you just want to get a little bigger over time, you could literally just go in the gym, horse some weight around, have fun with it, and you'll probably make some progress over time, but don't expect to compete or anything. So I'm going to put it in overblown. I think that there's so many good things about it and only a few bad things about it. And the few bad things is really just maybe you're more likely to injure yourself and you're not tracking your workouts, which is bad, right? I think there's just so much good with it that the average person would probably benefit from just being a little bit more excited to work out. Next, kind of got cut off, but inconsistency. It's pencil neck here. Let's say there's 52 weeks in a year. If you're being inconsistent and you're missing half those weeks, that's probably, you might think it's half the progress. No, it's probably worse than that, because you might be losing some of the gains that you're getting, especially if you're taking many weeks off in a row. I don't really think, I've already kind of hit on that. Like, figure out a plan, right? Like, your plan is the steering wheel and your consistency is the engine. And you can have a steering wheel all day. You can turn it all day. You can be super refined. You can use your turn signals. If there's no engine, you're not going anywhere. Simple as that. Next, we have analysis paralysis, right? This is for those guys who are constantly worried about the rate of their progress, and they're constantly watching content, they're constantly watching science-based videos, and then they're applying virtually none of it because they just have so much information coming in that they never decide to actually put any of it into practice. My personal recommendation is, if you're going to watch anything, like if you're going to watch this video, which you're already in it, right? Take something and apply it. Then don't watch some fitness content for anything but entertainment. If you want to watch some stuff for entertainment, go for it. But don't watch anything with the intention of applying it to your training for a little bit, right? Take it as homework, right? So let's say you take, oh, I didn't realize alcohol was so bad for muscle growth. I'm gonna stop doing that. That's your homework. Apply that to your life, apply that to your training. Then later on, once that's kind of stuck, you apply something else. And you do this for years and you'll be jacked. Simple as that. I'm going to put analysis paralysis and hustling in reverse. You know, I think you can definitely make some progress even if you have analysis by paralysis, but you need to be consistent, right? You need to at least get in the gym and do something. But there are too many times I see guys who are just program hopping, doing whatever new fitness trend, whatever new science-based exercise is trendy, and it's just, pick an exercise that connects with you and progressively overload it. I mean, that's it. Program hopping, kind of the same thing. I'm going to put it in holding you back. It's definitely not overblown. Like, it's definitely not good to just be constantly program hopping. And it usually goes in conjunction with analysis paralysis. Like, people will be like, oh, I haven't hit 225 yet on the bench. Maybe I need to try a new program. It's like, no, dude, like, how long have you been doing this program? And they're like, oh, like, last couple of weeks. It's like, dude, like, you just learned how to bench. Like, maybe your CNS is primed and you're ready to start actually making progress, but like, you haven't progressively overloaded crap. Next, I'm actually going to put the two steroids together. So I put two of these in here because I think steroids can be both. I refuse to promote steroids. I think way too many people are taking them with not the right intentions. But I also refuse to not say that they're effective. Like, they are absolutely effective. We've seen that you can put someone on steroids and literally they can just not train. They can just sit on the couch all day and they can grow. Which is why I'm like, the reason why I don't do steroids is because I'm super competitive with myself. And if I was taking research chemicals that are proven to make you grow muscle, I would never know how much of it is really me, how much of it is my hard work. And like, a lot of people can get jacked doing literally nothing on it and they just don't earn it. And the big thing, like the reason why I'm so passionate about lifting and resistance training is because I was not like, I mean, I'm not even that jacked up a guy. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I'm like a decently fit guy, I'd like to say. But back in the day when I was younger, like in middle school, high school, I was not a healthy kid. Like, I'm very confident that that kid, if he saw me today, he'd be pretty proud, right? He'd be like, yeah, I'm happy to be in that body later on. And he'd be happy that I earned it. With steroids, you'll never really know how much of it you earned. And then other thing is that steroids are going to really help you peak and get really jacked for a certain amount of time, but your longevity is probably going to go down the drain and you might get really jacked. And then eventually for health reasons, you can't continue to be on it. And now you'll constantly no longer be in your prime. You'll constantly be looking back like, oh, when I was 24 and I was hopped up on a whole bunch of research chemicals, like I was so jacked, and I'll never just be that again because now I have hypogonadism and I simply can't produce enough testosterone and I'm basically stuck taking TRT for the rest of my life, but I can't really push the research chemicals and really push the dosages for health reasons, and now I'm kind of just screwed, right? You'll never be at your prime again. And that irks me, so I don't do it. But I digress. Next is not warming up effectively. This one, I think like if you're just jumping straight, like it's kind of like a spectrum, right? Like if you're just jumping straight into your working weight, like if you can, I don't know, do 180 pounds for 5 reps on whatever exercise, doesn't really matter, and you just jump right to 180, yeah, that's dumb. You're probably gonna hurt something. And then again, injury is going to fuck up your consistency, and inconsistency, right, is S tier. It's going to be on both tier lists, whether it's a bad, like inconsistency is the worst and then consistency is the best. So doing anything that's going to increase your risk of injury is bad. But I don't think you need to do these crazy, super drawn out, dynamic warm-ups that are just general or just unrelated to what you're actually going to do. I think for the most part, you can kind of just do some dynamics, like some smaller dynamic stuff, right? Like some arm circles, shoulder circles, you know, open the gates, kind of warm up your hip, 90-90, stuff like that. Take like 5 minutes to feel mobile, feel loose, and then warm up slowly, like ramp up your weights, you know, like start with just the bar, and then throw a 25 on it, and then take the 25 off, throw a 45 on, like whatever is like a smaller increment that you can, you know, still relatively easily do. And then once you get to your working weight, you do your sets. I'm going to put it in overblown. I definitely think that not warming up effectively, maybe I'm going to put it in holding you back. Do I think it's as bad as program? No, I'm going to put it in overblown. I think it can definitely hold you back, but I think most people are doing at least the bare minimum, right? They're starting at a smaller weight and then they're working up from there. I think I've seen very few people just immediately hop in the gym and just throw their max on the bar. Next, we have overthinking about genetics. Thinking that your genetics is the thing holding you back, and it really is just this woe is me mentality. I think that just constantly believing your genetics is a problem and you got dealt a bad hand is hustling in reverse. It's so much stress and it's so much on your mind that is not going to help you. Just take what you got and work with it. Like that's just life. You're born a certain way and you're good, kind of just going to be that way. You can work with that, but stop overthinking and be like, oh, you know, my bicep insertion, you know, it's not as good as Ronnie's. Like, who cares, bro? Like, some people might even think that the way your bicep inserts is better than Ronnie's, or at least they think it looks better. Like, like it always just irks me when people just come up with all these excuses. Like, dude, no one expects you to be Ronnie Coleman tomorrow. Like, just work on yourself. Like, the whole point is progress, not being the best at every single thing you do in your life. Just progress, always. So next we have not hitting your protein. I think with this one, it's kind of tricky. Protein is obviously good. for muscle growth, right? I don't think I need to explain that to you. I think it's kind of commonplace now. We're kind of learning in schools now and everything. Protein's good. The thing is that especially if you're really watching a lot of fitness content, there's going to be a lot of enhanced bodybuilders who are, they've kind of blown it out of proportions, right? They're like, oh, here's my 500 gram protein eating day. Most people don't need to do that. In fact, I don't even think they need to do that. Maybe their rate of, progress is just so ridiculous that they really should be eating 500 grams of protein a day. For the average person who is natural, I'm going to say that beyond 70% of your body weight in pounds in grams of protein. So if you weigh 200 pounds, just for ease of math, 140 grams of protein is like, anything beyond that is going to be heavily diminished returns. Probably not beneficial. Could you do it because it helps your satiety and that protein is just generally good and you want to just be sure? Yes, but definitely don't do it if it's going to result in you not eating enough fat for the day, completely blowing your calories out of proportion, or not eating enough carbs to have a good workout and feel good throughout the day. So, definitely don't just eat a diet of all protein and think that that's going to be optimal. Have some fat so that you have healthy hormones and they feel good, and then have some carbs so you can perform. So I'm going to say not eating enough protein, I think it's probably overblown. I think most people are eating enough, especially in American lifestyle. If you're, just having some protein with each meal, you're probably eating enough to make progress. I think just, slowly start to ramp it up. I think the first thing you should do is just focus on eating higher quality food, right? And then doing that, just focusing on eating higher quality food and adding a protein source to each meal, you're probably going to get enough protein, right? So I think it's not just, think about getting enough protein, constantly be tracking your protein and eating enough. I don't think you need to do that. I think if you just focus on eating the whole foods, it doesn't always have to be whole foods, like, slightly processed. And I don't necessarily hate processed foods either. I think they have their place. I think just thinking about improving your diet. I'm ranting, but just improve your overall diet, and the protein's going to get up there to a point where you're going to be able to make good progress, right? Don't just try to just crazily inflate your protein with tons of protein shakes, because you're probably going to get burnt out of it. And then again, doing anything inconsistently, you're better off just doing something slightly less optimal, more consistently. Next, we have cold plunges, cold baths. So this one, I kind of just want to throw on there because there is some research that it can negatively impact some of the mechanisms of muscle protein synthesis, some like the mTOR pathways, and you shouldn't do it post-workout. I've actually had clients who have told me, like, oh, I've been doing cold plunges, every time after my workout, and I'm just like, yeah, do that like a couple hours before, or like, a different day or something. Definitely don't do that right after, because how I explain it is that the stress that we do when we're in the gym, right? Like, we're stressing out our body to create an adaptation. Cold plunges are going to kind of reduce that inflammation and that adaptation, right? That's kind of what they're good at, right? We don't really want that. We kind of want, how do I say, like, controlled chaos a little bit. Like, we want that inflammation, that adaptation to happen uncontested. So if you're going to do cold plunges, do them before or on a different day. Don't do them right after a workout, especially. I don't really know where to put this, because I think it's just something that, like, I wouldn't say it's overblown, because most people don't even really know about it. I definitely don't want to put in neutral or even beneficial, because it could be negative, right? It's definitely not always neutral or beneficial. I'm going to put in overblown. I think the vast majority of people aren't doing it at all, so it wouldn't make sense to put it all the way up here. But yeah, definitely move your timing. Next, we have working out too long. I don't really think most people have a problem with this. I think most people are in the gym for, 30 minutes to maybe 2 hours at most, depending on how many things they're trying to do, whether they're trying to do their cardio at the same time, on the same day as they're lifting. Yeah, I would say just accomplish the mission, do what you set out to do, and if that's done in 30 minutes, it's done in 30 minutes. If it's done in 2 hours, it's done in 2 hours. Obviously, don't let it impact the rest of your life, because that's going to create stress, and then the stress is going to probably affect your consistency. Next, we have science-based lifting. This one is kind of going to be around the analysis paralysis and program hopping, right? Like, I think that science-based lifting is great. I think being interested in science and how it can benefit your workouts is great. I just think that going way too overboard is the problem. I think since I already have analysis paralysis and then program hopping on the same tier list, I don't want to put science-based lifting because I think science-based lifting is great. In fact, I think it's generally neutral or beneficial when it's not combined with program hopping and analysis paralysis. If you're just taking, the science, like if you're just taking like exercises that are effective, or you're just taking like, oh, these muscles, right, like aren't affected by stretch medial hypertrophy, so I'm not going to bother, stretching them. I'm going to focus more on like those, shorter muscle lengths, or I'm just not going to do the super deep stretches. But then on some muscles, like the chest, for example, I'm really going to get a stretch each rep. I might not accentuate it, but I'm going to get a stretch. Like, you're using that little bit of information to just accentuate the consistent training that you're already doing. I think that's great. If you're just trying to hop on different bandwagons and just completely program hopping every time a new fitness fad or new fitness trend based on science comes out, I think that is always going to be pretty much negative. Even if it is effective, even if it is science-based and all that, I think if you're just doing it just to do it, not necessarily because you believe in it, I think that's where it goes down. Especially because I see a lot of people doing curl variations or doing exercise variations that they don't even like. Like why? Like, if you're deciding between two exercises, one of them you think is more science-based and more optimal based on these theoretical variables that you don't even understand, right? And then another exercise that you love, that you've been doing consistently for a while and you really enjoy and you're passionate about progressing, but it's not as science-based, you should pick the one that's not as science-based. Just straight up. You should pick the one that makes you excited to fucking bust ass and actually improve and do better each time. Next, we have kind of a simple one, not using lifting straps. I think it's holding you back. It's holding you back, but like, I think if you're a beginner, you don't need lifting straps. Your grip is probably more than capable of lifting the weights that your back or your posterior chain are lifting, are capable of lifting. But it is holding you back. Like, eventually, when you become an intermediate lifter, like this guy right here, he wouldn't be able to lift those weights without lifting straps. I think just it's a short little investment. You might even be able to try them. Some gyms actually just have some pairs laying around. A lot of times it's pairs that people just forget. So obviously use hand sanitizer after you put them on. Give them a shot. It's definitely something that I didn't use my first year-ish of lifting, but then I tried them out. Someone else had them. I tried them out and I'm like, wow, like I actually just put on 20 pounds to my bent over row. I didn't realize that my grip was actually holding me back. Like, subconsciously it was my grip that was making me reach that perception of failure. Next, we have skipping legs. If you want to be jacked, like, it depends, like, why do you want to be jacked? Like, if you just want a big upper body, then yeah, you don't have to hit legs. But I don't think guys realize how much girls actually like dudes with strong legs. Like, I'm not trying to say that you should have a bigger, butt and bigger legs than your upper body, but like, legs actually play a huge part in how you look. Like, it really does. And I think if your goal is to just get generally jacked, what did I say? If your goal is to just get jacked, you shouldn't skip legs, because your legs are a big part of it. And your legs and your glutes especially are some of the biggest muscles in the body. So how can you really call yourself a bodybuilder when you're not building the strongest muscles in your body and the largest muscles in your body? I'm going to put definitely hustle in reverse. I think 99% of people who are just trying to look good and trying to get jacked, who are skipping legs, they think they're hustling, when in reality they're hustling in reverse. And then the last one is skipping pre and post workout meals, or missing your timing. This one I think is super overblown. I do think that eating some protein or eating some good carb, like some fast digesting carbs right before a workout, is beneficial. So I'm not going to say that skipping it is neutrally even beneficial, right? It's definitely, having some protein after your workout, having some carbs right before it is definitely beneficial. I just think that the concept of pre and post workout food and like this timing window is so exaggerated and overblown that it's like, whatever. So I think skipping it is overblown. Like, skipping it is definitely not putting you in pencil neck tier. Like, I never think about post-workout protein. Sometimes I'm really hungry after my workout, so I just coincidentally eat a big meal after my workout. But I'm not thinking like, oh, I have to eat. And I think that can actually put you in a dirty bulking, mindset. I've met guys who they usually eat 3 meals a day, but now they have to have a snack before their workout and they have to eat a whole meal after their workout. And then they still end up eating their 3 meals a day. So it kind of puts them in a dirty book without even realizing it, because that meal might be 800 calories. And then that snack, if it's like, I don't know, like maybe a sugary energy drink and a Rice Krispie treat, which you don't need both, let's be honest, that could be another 300-400 calories. Great. Guess what? Now you're in a surplus of 1,200 calories, assuming you were in maintenance before. That's pretty bad. So long story short, you don't have to think about the damn timing, but like, yeah, if you just happen to have some stuff on hand, like if you happen to have like a little treat, a little sweet treat before your workout, probably not that bad. It's probably gonna give you a tiny bit more energy, but don't worry about it. Like I hate seeing people stress out about like, oh my god, like, you know, I'm not like dinner isn't until 6 p.m. and I'm working out at 2. Like, I'm not gonna get my protein. I have to go to the gas station and buy a $5 protein bar. No, you fucking don't. Quit it. All right, so that's going to be it for today. If you disagree or you have any other habits that you want me to give my opinion on, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you have any other ideas for tier list or want to see me rank anything, go ahead and leave it in the comments.